So today our primary focus is going to be warrior pose. And a lot of times, if you're taking a class or when I'm teaching a class in person, we get to the warrior section and there's this collective groan because people don't really like warrior. And really, it shouldn't be about discomfort. It shouldn't be this really uncomfortable, difficult pose. And sometimes that's because we're all built differently. Our hips are at different angles depending on how our physiology works and our muscles. Some muscles are tighter than others. So the primary objective for today's class is to find your warrior, find the pose that works for you, and then you can work your flexibility within that region. So let's start in a seated position. And we really want to get ourselves grounded today and open up through our hips, because warrior is about opening through the hips, strengthening through the legs, stabilizing with our core. So we want to make sure that we're really open there. And let's start with some breathing exercises to start. So we're sitting with one foot in front of the other. It doesn't matter which. We'll switch it up halfway through. But as you inhale, I want you to lift your shoulders up as high as you can. And as you exhale, I want you to drop your shoulders as low as you can. So you're actually working to drop the shoulders and to raise the shoulders. So we're going to inhale, exhale, and just follow your breath as you raise your shoulders and lower them. Pay attention to both sides, see how they feel. Do you feel a little different on one side than the other? Sometimes we're tighter on the side that we sleep on if we're side sleepers. So just give yourself a chance to open that up, but also to follow your breath and connect your mind with your breathing. Take the moment to set the intention for your class, whatever that intention might be. Take a moment to take your to-do list, take your past and put it outside the door so that you can be present in the class right now. Now we're going to look over our right shoulder as far as you can comfortably. Take note of how far you're looking over your shoulder. We don't want to turn our shoulders as we do so. We want to keep our shoulders square to the front as we just move through the neck. And then we'll look over the left shoulder and just see how it feels, right side to left side. Do you feel any tightness more on one side than the other? Right ear to right shoulder, drop the left shoulder down. Left ear to left shoulder, drop the right shoulder down. Again, checking for imbalances. Back to center. Go through a couple shoulder rolls forward and back. Change directions periodically, but go as far forward, up, back, and down as you can, and then change directions. Again, looking for any sort of imbalance in the arms and the shoulders. And if you follow the Tuesday strength class where we do weightlifting, it's a great exercise, great way to fix some of those imbalances that occur. Relax here. And now we're going to start opening our hips. So I want you to rock side to side, rock forward and back. We're going to follow our breath. Connect your breath with your motion. We're going to take it as far to the right as possible as we press down on the left, exhaling down, rolling up to the left side, pressing down on the right shoulder, the right knee. And just keep going through those rolling motions, exhaling down, inhaling up. Trying to go out of your comfort zone, but keep your hips stable. So we're moving from our lower spine instead of moving from our hips, keeping our hips planted and anchored. When you get to the bottom, change directions, inhaling up and exhaling back down. Always pressing on that opposite knee as you bring it up or take it down, keeping your hips anchored to the mat. Connect your breath with your motion. Connect yourself with the present moment. And then we're going to just change feet. So the other foot's going to be in front now. Again, rock it side to side. Make sure that you're evenly balanced right side, left side. Then roll forward and back so that you're evenly balanced front and back. And once you get there, we're going to exhale on the way down, making those hip rolls, inhaling up, pressing on the opposite knee as we do so. Anchor the hips. Equate yourself with the present moment and your mat. And then change directions when you're ready. Really trying to be present. If your mind starts to wander, just bring it back to the here and now. Don't be hard on yourself if your mind wanders. That's what it's built to do. Meditation is all about bringing the mind back to the present. It's not so much holding it in the present as it is remembering to come back. One more roll. And bring it up to center. Inhale up, bring the arms up overhead. Try to keep your arms straight and your biceps by your ears. You can touch your fingers to one another. And then we're going to tilt to the right as we exhale. Inhale, bring it up to center and tilt to the left, lifting through the torso as we go, trying to keep those arms straight. Sometimes I get lazy and my elbows start to bend. We want to really work to keep our arms straight as we breathe. So yoga is all about connecting the mind with the breath, connecting yourself to the body, what's happening right now, connecting yourself to the present, but also just to prepare your body for seated meditation. So I don't want to take away from the spiritual practice of yoga, but in our work today, we're really focusing on our warrior pose and finding the one that's right for us so that we don't hate it when it's time to do warriors in a class. So we'll be talking some technical and physiological terms today, but throughout the class, just take those moments to inhale and exhale, focus on the here and now, connect your mind with your body. Exhale, bring the arms down. From here, we're going to bring it up to a standing position. And we're going to swing our legs, one, then the other. Switch sides. We just really want to keep our hips open so that when we get to the warrior pose, we're not being held back by the flexibility, especially in the fronts of our hips. To continue with that, we're going to go through just a few sun salutations. So we're going to take it to the front of our mat. We're going to inhale up. Exhale down to fold, lifting through the tailbone as we fold. Inhale, right leg steps back into a lunge. Exhale, step back into plank position. Hold your plank as you inhale, then exhale, lower down to the floor. Inhale, raise up into baby cobra. Keep those elbows tucked in, look all the way up. And then we exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg into three-leg dog, then exhale, step forward, feet come between the hands. That didn't happen right away. Allow yourself a few extra seconds to get your foot there, and then inhale, hold it here. Exhale, step the feet together in a bent knee fold. Inhale, back roll up, inhale up. Palms together, exhale down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold, lift the tailbone, bend the knees. Then bring your left leg back into lunge as you inhale, and exhale, steps back into plank when you're ready. Hold your plank as you inhale. Exhale, lower down. Keep those elbows tucked in. Keep the head straight. Then inhale, lift into baby cobra. Look up. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg raises. Exhale, step forward. Hold your lunge as you inhale. Exhale, feet come together. Inhale, back roll up, palms together at the top. Exhale down. One more time each side. Inhale up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, right leg steps back into lunge. Exhale to plank. Hold your plank as you inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, lift up. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg raises. Exhale, step it through. Hold it here as you inhale. Open up through the front of the hip. Exhale, step the feet together. Inhale, back roll up. All the way to the top. Squeeze the glutes at the top. Palms together. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, left leg steps back. Exhale, step back to plank. Hold your plank as you inhale. Keep those elbows tucked in as you exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, raise the left leg. Exhale, step it forward. Hold it here as you inhale. Exhale, step the feet together. Back roll up as you inhale. Bring the palms together at the top. Exhale, hold the hands, heart center, and Jali Mudra. Close your eyes. Just breathe. Hold yourself in this moment. Rest in the stillness. Connect to the present. And then open your eyes. Inhale up again. We're going to exhale down into fold. We're going to inhale, right leg steps back into lunge. We're not done opening up through the front of the hips. So when we're in this high lunge, we're going to straighten that back leg. Keep the heel up. Squeeze the glute on the right side. Look forward. You should feel the front of your hip opening slightly. Now, if you feel safe here and want to stay here, that's fine. But if you want to take it a step farther, you can inhale up, Anjane Asana, dropping the hips down, opening up, keep straightening through that back leg, opening through the front of the hip. Hold it here. Exhale, bring the hands down. Inhale, step back into plank and exhale here too. Just hold this plank. From here, drop down to the knees, sit back into child pose, rest through the lower back. Take a deep breath, inhale, exhale. Connect with your mat, connect with the present. From here, we're gonna back roll up, toes tuck under. We're lifting up into downward facing dog. Right leg raises into three-leg dog and we step forward into lunge. From this lunge, we wanna straighten through that left leg. Nice and strong. Hold it here, look forward. Drop the chest between the arms. Squeeze the glute on the left side. You might feel a little more of an opening in the front of the hip. And then if you want to take it to the next level, inhale up, dropping through that back leg, dropping through the hip, but keep that back knee straight. Open through the chest, reach those arms back, biceps at or behind the ears if you can. Keep breathing. Opening through the front of the hip. Exhale, bring the hands down. From here, let's bring the feet together into fold and back roll up, one vertebrae at a time. Step it out, and now we're gonna take it to a wide stance on our mat. Inhaling up. Exhale, fold down. But as we fold, we wanna turn our tailbone up towards the ceiling. Bend our knees slightly if you need to. Let your arms hang down, let your head hang down. As you focus on your breath, opening through the lower back and the hamstrings. Keep breathing. From here, bring the hands to the thighs, bend the knees slightly as we back roll up one vertebrae at a time, roll the shoulders back. All right, here comes the fun part. We've got warriors. So we're gonna start out with a basic warrior one, and I'm going to do it from several different angles so you can see what I'm doing. But first, we're gonna turn our left foot forward to the front of the mat, and our right foot's gonna turn in at a 90 or 45-degree angle. You can play around with that angle. There's a lot of forgiveness there. Now, warrior one is all about turning the hips towards that front leg, towards your left leg. So your hips are square to the front of your mat, and your back leg is staying straight and strong. So I want you to assess right here, before we even start bending the knees, does it feel okay? Do you have movement in your hips when you turn forward? Do you feel it in the back knee? Do you feel it in the back ankle? This is where the play comes in and the forgiveness in the pose. So you might find, I want you to play around with it by stepping your foot farther away from the midline. You might find a little more relief in the knee. You might find more relief in the hip. You might find more mobility to turn your hips forward. So it's having that wide stance. So if I would measure the distance between the inside of my left foot and the inside of my right foot, I might have a little bit more distance there. So it might be an even wider stance out to the side as I turn my hips forward. So play around with your foot positioning. Find the one that's right for you. You don't have to be completely in alignment. It's not about the pictures of the poses that you see in magazines, books, internet, all of that. It's about you finding the place that's right for you, and your hips and how they're built will determine that. So once you found that position, I want you to begin by bending that front knee. Bend the left knee, keep the right knee straight and strong, pushing through the back foot. Keep bending the knee, keep dropping the hips, but keep turning the hips forward. Now, you might find at a certain point that your knee goes way past your toe and you start to lose balance, or you start to feel strain in the front knee. If that's the case, you might need to back that foot up in the back. So you might need to increase that distance between your legs. So we have our distance forward and back and our distance side to side. So play around with the distance forward and back, play around with the distance side to side, and find the right position for you for warrior. And this is just the position for you for warrior with the left leg leading. Then keep working into that bent knee, bending the front knee, turning the hips forward, open through the chest, raise the arms up overhead. Now, if you find that your quadriceps or the fronts of your thighs just feel like they're working way too hard, you can straighten the leg a little bit more. If you find that you want to really work that front leg, you can really focus on bending the knee. So find the right place for you, then hold it steady. Once you're in the right position with your feet laterally and sagittally distanced, I want you to work on bending the knees, sinking your hips down towards the floor, and then dropping the shoulders away from the ears. When we stress out or we're doing a stressful pose, we tend to start raising the shoulders up, up, up. So on your next exhale, just drop the shoulders away from the ears, open the chest, keep the chin up, keep pushing through the back leg. We're pushing forward through the back leg, pushing back through the front leg. Keep holding it here. If you need a break, you can straighten the leg and then rebend. Release the arms, bring the feet together, and I want you to just step it out. So that was the right, hopefully you found the right position for warrior. For you personally, everyone is different. Let's try it on the other side. So I'm going to change sides of my mat so that I'm not facing away from you. So now we're standing at the front of our mat. We're going to step the other leg back. So at this point, which leg is back? The right leg is back. Left leg, sorry. And then we want to play around with the distance from side to side. Before we even start bending the knee, we want to play around with that distance to see how wide our feet should be from one another. Once we get to that position where we find the right distance, then we want to start bending the front knee. Bending, 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 dropping the back leg down towards the floor. Keep that back leg straight and strong. And now we are going to start working on that distance from our feet. So we're stepping forward, stepping back, really trying to find the right distance for us. So we're thinking laterally and we're thinking front and back. From here, we want to make sure that we're turning our hips towards the front knee. So we're rotating the hips, make sure we have some motion. You can even try twisting, opening towards the front, opening towards the side, so that our hips are square to the front, really working through that bend in the front knee. And then we inhale, raise our arms up overhead, drop the shoulders down. Keep breathing, keep sinking, play around with the bend in your knee. If you need a break, straighten the front leg and then bring it right back. Hold it here, keep sinking. Pushing back with the front leg, pushing forward with the back leg. Straight and strong, drop the shoulders away from the ears, open the chest. Try to pull your arms back so that they're in alignment with your ears or even behind the ears. If you have a hard time with that, if your arms only want to go forward, a great stretch would be to hold on to something above you, maybe a doorway, and lean into it. And that just helps open through the front of the shoulder. From here, we exhale, release, step it out, bring our feet back together, march it out. Now we're going to go into warrior two next. I'm going to turn my mat more to the side. So warrior two is a little bit different than warrior one. So warrior one, we have our hips turned to face the front leg. And warrior two, we're opening our hips to the front. So we're going to take a wide stance with our feet. Make sure that we're evenly distributed right side, left side. We're going to turn the right foot all the way to the side of the room. Left foot's going to turn in at a slight angle. You pick how much. Then from here, I want you to place your hands on your hips, because a lot of times we tend to turn our hips back one way or forward, depending on which side is stronger. We want to make sure that our fingertips are making a straight line from one to the other. Then from here, we're going to bend the right knee. And I want you to look down at your knee. Can you still see your big toe? If you can't see your big toe, you might be turning the knee forward or back, and that puts a lot of strain on either the inside or the outside of the knee. So make sure you can see your big toe. And then as you do that, we tend to want to turn our hips towards that toe. So you have to really work squeezing the glutes to keep the hips facing forward, but also to keep that knee laterally to the side. So if you're finding it difficult, we're going to adjust our back leg. So you might need to step forward with the back leg to get that space. You might need to step back with the back leg to get that space. You might be in exact orientation. Sometimes when we're in yoga classes, they say about drawing a straight line back from the heel to the center of the foot. But if your hips are built or you have an imbalance the front and the back of your hips, that just might not be possible, and that might be painful. So we're starting with just a very slight bend in the right knee, turning the hips forward, hands to the hips for this. And now I want you to start bending the knee a little bit more, pushing back through the left leg. Right leg's holding a lot more weight, but we want to keep the hips facing forward and keep them in alignment so we're not leaning into it. You might need to, at this point, stretch out, open up a little bit more on the mat to get more of a bend in the knee. And then from here, once you find that your hips are stabilized, your knee is out to the side so you can see the big toe. Then I want you to squeeze the glutes, engage the lower back and the lower abs, and bring your arms out so that your wrists are in alignment with your shoulders. We're just holding it here, sinking into it, keeping that back leg strong. Hold it here and make sure that you're going to have more weight in the right leg. So make sure that the weight is evenly distributed on your whole foot. We're not just pushing through our toes, we're pushing through our heel as well. Sink into it as much as you can. If you need a break, straighten up, take a breather, and sink right back into it. So this is our basic warrior two. And you'll be feeling your inner thigh working, you'll be feeling your quadricep working, but you should not be feeling pain in the knee, in the hip, in the ankle. We want to be in a nice alignment. From here, release that pose, turn both feet forward, and we're just going to reset our spine, reset our legs a little bit. Inhale up, exhale down to the floor. And from here, I want you to just shift the hips, right side, left side, opening up through the inner thighs. And then rest at center, let your arms hang down, let your head hang down. Breathe, reconnect with the present. And now we bring our hands to our thighs, bend the knees back, roll up. And we're going to do warrior on the other side. Just because your warrior looked a certain way on the right side doesn't mean that it'll look exactly the same on the left side. So again, we're going to go through those ranges of motion here. So we're going to turn the left foot forward, right foot turns in slightly. And now we want to turn our hips to the front of the room. So with both legs straight, you're going to notice a little bit more comfort turning your hips towards that left foot. So the work is coming from rotating the hips so that they're open to the front. And we're not turning our hips down, we're not lifting our hips. We want to be right at center. So that's why we have our hands on each hip bone to make sure that they're in alignment from here. So we keep turning the hips. That means squeezing the glutes to get your body where it needs to be. From this position, you're going to start by bending the left knee slightly. And at this point, you can play around with the distance in that back leg. So we might need to step back, we might need to step forward, but we're looking for that space where we're able to keep our hips turned forward, keep our lower abdominals engaged. We have that room to open to the front without compromising the stability in our knees, ankles, and hips. From here, take a look down. Can you see your big toe? Hands on the hips, start bending that knee. And if you find that, you don't have enough room or you need your knees going past your toe, then you might need to back that back foot up or step the front foot up a little bit more. So now we're playing with the distance from foot to foot. Bending the knee, keeping the hips turned forward, keeping the hips engaged and in alignment. Keep bending that front knee, arms come out to the side, once we feel stable. Keep the hips turned forward, squeeze the glutes, turn the tailbone under, wrists in alignment with shoulders. Hold it here. This is our basic warrior two. Hips are square to the front. Legs feel stable and balanced, no pain in the joints. You might feel some work in the quadriceps, and to make it a little easier, you can straighten that leg a little bit more. To make it a little harder, you can really bend into it. It's up to you. Just make sure your hips are stable and you found the right footing. Pay attention to where your feet are, because when we get into classes where we just jump right into one of the warriors, you'll know how to adjust your feet that's right for you. And don't ever let anyone tell you that it's wrong. As long as you're not in pain, you're doing the right thing. Take one more deep breath here and release. Bring the feet together, step it out. We're going to inhale, our arms up, and as we exhale, we're going to sit down in an imaginary chair. And from here, we're just lifting our toes, lifting our heels, shifting our weight to make sure that we're evenly balanced, right side to left side. From the side, I'm looking for a straight back or a slight bend. I'm bending too much now, I'm exaggerating. We want to have pretty straight back. We don't want to be rounding out. So hold this imaginary chair, breathe into it, and release. Go ahead and step it out. We're going to open up through our quadriceps. We just worked so hard doing our warriors. Our quadriceps are really working. So if you need something to hold on to, go for it. If not, just grab a toe. Hold it here, reaching the left arm forward, knees in alignment, pushing the hips forward, squeeze through the glutes. Working a little bit of balance here. Focus on the breath. Focus on that grounding foot. And release. And now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So let's pick up that left foot. Reach the right arm forward. Knees are in alignment, squeezing the glutes, keeping ourselves grounded. Pay attention here. Does it feel more balanced on one side than the other? Do you feel that one quadricep is tighter than the other? And release. Step your feet out. Well done. We're going to go into the final warrior, which is warrior three. So from here, this is a balancing pose. If you need a chair or something handy to hold on to, there's no shame in that. Just go ahead and grab it so you have something to hold on to, maybe even the wall. But from here, we're going to go right into warrior three. Now, there are a couple different variations of it. So we're going to start out with the easiest, then I'll give you cues to make it a little bit more difficult. We're going to step the right leg back. And we're keeping the right leg straight and strong, pointing the toe. We're going to raise the arms up overhead, and we're going to just lean forward slightly. So we're trying to go for a straight diagonal line from the top of our hands all the way down to that back leg. So from the side, I'm just pointing the toe, resting it on the floor, looking for a straight line, arms to legs. And then if you want to make it harder on yourself, you can start to slowly raise that leg, slowly fall forward. And then we're going to bend that balancing knee slightly, pulling forward from the hands, back from the legs. So there aren't a lot of play motions here, except for with the balancing leg. So when you're in this pose, if you have a straight leg, you're going to require more balance. If you have a bent leg, you're going to require more strength. So find the place that's right for you with this bent knee, straight knee, whichever allows you to get into the right position. If you're using a chair for balance, you're going to have both hands on that chair. So go ahead and hold that pose. I'm just grabbing something to hold on to so I can demonstrate with it. This is the dumbest chair in my house. And we're just holding onto that chair, bringing our leg back. Go ahead and bring the feet together, step it out. Let's try it on the other side. So now we're extending your left foot back, pointing the toe, bringing the arms up overhead. This is the most modified version of warrior one. We're still balancing to some degree. The toes just grazing the floor, pressing into the floor, it's up to you. Then from here, we start to lean forward, extend, 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 until you have your balancing hold, or you're just holding your arms in place. And then from here, we're gonna bend that balancing knee, straighten it, and find the right place for us. And every day it's going to be a little bit different because our balance changes from day to day. Depends on tight muscles, whether or not we're tired. So just holding that pose, finding the right angle of our balancing knee. From here, you can release. Go ahead and step it out. And let's bring it down to the mat so that we're laying on our back with our knees bent. So hopefully you found a good position for warrior 1, 2, and 3, but that takes a huge toll on the fronts of the hips. So what we're going to do next is strengthen through our lower back and the fronts of the hips. We're going to start out with some breathing exercises. So as you inhale, you're going to notice that your lower back kind of raises off of the mat and you can fit your hands in underneath your back. As you exhale, I want you to press your lower back flat against the mat so you can't even get your hands in there. So that's turning the tailbone up and turning the tailbone down. So let's inhale, turn the tailbone down towards the floor, create some space in your lower back, and then exhale, press it down. Inhale, raise it up. Exhale, press it down. And you should feel your tailbone moving. You should feel your lower abdominals engaging as you exhale and move through these different motions. This is a great way to open up the lower back, which works so hard to keep us stabilized when we're balancing in the warriors. Our next move is to open up through the fronts of the hips. So we're really going to walk our feet back towards our behind. Then pressing through the whole foot, hands come down to the floor. We're just going to exhale and lift our hips up to the ceiling, making sure that our thighs stay parallel. We don't want to turn our knees out. We don't want to bring our knees in. We want to keep a nice parallel line between our thighs, squeezing those glutes, lifting up through the fronts of the hips. This allows the front of the body to open. Hold it here. These are all the muscles that work whenever we're squaring our hips to the front in warrior 2, or towards your front leg in warrior 1. And then exhale, drop down. But I want you to drop down one vertebrae at a time. So we're turning our tailbone up, drop it down nice and slow. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, I want you to just raise it up again. Keep pressing. Keep those thighs parallel. Keep pressing up as high as you can. Builds a lot of strength in the lower back and glutes, but it's also a great stretching exercise for the front of the hips. Hold it here for another inhale, another exhale, another inhale, and as you exhale, lower down one vertebrae at a time, finishing with the tailbone. Take a few resetting breaths as we press our lower back flat against the mat. Inhale, lift it off of the mat. Exhale, press it flat. Inhale, lift it up. And our final hip bridge pose, I'm going to give you an option for add-on. So first we're going to lift up, and then we're going to bring our hands back and clasp them behind our back, right under our tailbone, so that we're resting on each shoulder blade, not on our spine. So we're squeezing the shoulder blades together, lifting through the chest, lifting the hips up off of the mat as high as you can. Push through your feet. Hold it here. Keep clasping those hands. If you prefer to just keep your hands flat like you did before, that's fine too. And don't forget about your thighs. Try to keep them as parallel as possible. Don't let them turn out. Hold it here. Keep breathing. And then gently and slowly release, drop down, and let's pull the knees in towards the chest as we rock side to side. We're going to bring our feet back down to the floor, but farther away from our torso and wider than our hips. So our feet are wider than our hips on our mat. From here, we're going to dip the knees down to the side, and let's open the arms nice and wide to open through the chest. So this is opening through the front of the left hip specifically, and maybe into the side of the hip. If that feels like you're not really doing much for yourself, and you want to make it a little harder, you can bring the right foot up and over to press the left foot down a little bit more. So the right foot is sitting just on this outside of the left thigh, almost to where it joins the knee. And that extra weight will help to press the knee down, opening up through the IT band, through the hip flexors, through your TFL. Take another deep breath in And on your exhale, gently release. Bring the knees back up to center, and we're going to reset our spine by pulling the knees in towards the body. Just rock side to side, forward and back, allowing your lower back to open. But when we do an exercise or an opening exercise with both legs doing the exact same thing, it helps to reset our spine. When we drop to one side or the other, then we're tensing up some of the muscles on one side and loosening up the muscles on the other side. So we always want to reset. Let's drop our feet back down so that our feet are wider than our hips. Our heels are a little farther from our torso as they were when we were doing bridge. And now we're just going to dip the legs down to the left side. Open the arms again, nice and wide. Hold it here and really relax through your abs. So if we're keeping our abs tight, our knee's going to raise up. So I want you to use every exhale to relax through the abs to allow that leg to just drop down naturally. And it's okay if your knee's not touching the floor here. It doesn't have to. We're really just trying to open up through the front of the hip and the side of the hip. If you want to get a little more out of it, now's the time to lift your left leg so that your left leg or left foot is against the outside of your right thigh, and you're just using the weight of your foot to help work the right knee down towards the floor a little closer. Don't forget to relax the abdominals. Don't forget to stay present on your mat. Connect with your breath. Inhale and exhale. From here, you can gently release on your next exhale, rolling the legs back. Pull the legs in towards the body again. And this time we're going to lift up into happy baby. So what we're going to do is bring our soles of our feet up towards the ceiling. We're going to bring our hands to the inside or outside of the foot. It might feel differently for you one way or the other. Find the one you like. And then with your hands against the arch of your foot, you're going to work to open the feet so that they're distal. And then gently relax to bring your tailbone towards the floor. Bring your knees down towards the floor. Keep your feet flexed. I know some yogis who can touch their knees to the floor in this pose. I've got a good 12 inches before that'll happen for me. So just pay attention to where you are, because you might find as your flexibility increases, you get even closer to the floor. But don't be discouraged if there's distance there. I'm just looking for you to get a nice opening through the center of the thighs. Take one more deep breath in, one more deep breath out, and we're going to bring the soles of the feet together now. We're going to bring the feet down to the floor so the soles of our feet are still touching. Our arms are wide. If you want to get a little more of a shoulder chest stretch, you can bring your arms to goalposts. But your soles of your feet are touching and you're opening your knees, relaxing them down towards the floor. This is called cobbler's pose. And if your feet are really close to your torso, your knees might be a little higher, but you might feel a little bit more of a stretch. If your feet are farther away from the torso, you might be able to get your knees down towards the floor a little bit. So I want you to play around with this distance and find the right distance for you. It's not about how low your knees get to the floor. It's no contest there. It's really about being able to keep your back stabilized. So when you get to a certain point, your back might feel like it's rising up or you might be straining. You don't want to have that strain. So I'm just asking you to bring your feet closer to your torso, farther away from your torso, and find the place that allows you the most openness through the center of the hips, through your inner thighs, but also without sacrificing stability in your lower back. Take one more deep breath here. Bring the knees together, arms forward. We're going to slowly roll up into a seated position and bring it up into a standing position. Take your time. We're going to do some energizing breaths because a lot of us still have things to do at the end of the day. So I love this breathing technique. It's a Tai Chi movement, but we're just swinging our arms. Let your arms be loose. We're turning our shoulders, but keeping our hips facing forward. And we're going to incorporate our exhale at that quick moment when our hands come to the end and bounce back. So it's going to be a short exhale and then inhale whenever we're centered. So forceful exhale, nice and quick. You should be able to hear yourself exhale. Short little blow, 1 second max. 10 more. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I'm trying to get a lot of my coworkers to do this at work so that it normalizes this motion because it is so energizing. Hopefully you feel a lot more energized. But let's try to normalize this motion so that we can go around our days doing it when we need energy and we won't look silly and have to hide in the bathroom to do it. So thank you everybody for participating. I wish you all namaste, and I will be posting this class a little bit later. So if you need it for reference, please let me know. But also if you have questions or imbalances that you want to discuss, please feel free to email me, text me, call me, whatever works for you.